Everyone and their grandma has heard of Super Smash Bros. A huge reason for the game franchise's popularity is that even the most culturally reclusive among us can recognize the roster chock full of iconic Nintendo characters. Even from the first iteration of Smash, Nintendo stacked the roster with some of gaming culture's most iconic characters. You've got Mario, you've got Donkey Kong, you've got Pikachu, you've got Jigglypuff? What the heck is she doing here? Jigs isn't even the most iconic character in her own series, let alone iconic enough to be in the same class as the rest of these iconic Nintendo juggernauts. So what gives? Well, with the deadline of the original game's release approaching and the devs feeling like the roster was pretty much already complete, they decided to round out the 12-character cast with a character whose model they could easily rip from somewhere else, in this case, Kirby's. So from her very conception, Jigs has been kind of the black sheep of the Smash Bros. Franchise. Jigs' character design in Super Smash Bros. Melee, however, is by far her most controversial. Smash's second iteration is known for its high technical execution ceiling and exceptional speed, at a competitive level at least. But Jigglypuff is a slow, campy lightweight with a simpler execution ceiling relative to the rest of the cast. This means that while some spectators, such as myself, really do love seeing the character represented in competitive play, many competitive Melee specters see Jigglypuff as the epitome of a yawn fest, and bemoan the very thought of seeing her on screen. So how is it that one of the most despised fighting game characters of all time, a character that some players have even accused of killing Melee, has become the most hyped character to watch in Smash's latest iteration? That's right, Juan Di Biedma, aka Hungrybox, went from being one of the most scorned players in Melee for playing Puff to eventually becoming what Esports at one point called the single biggest Super Smash Bros. Ultimate streamer in the world. So how the heck did he do it? Some of you might think it's because Hungrybox is the former #1 in the world in Melee, or maybe it's because of his signature over-the-top pop-offs, but I'm here today to tell you that it's neither. Today, I'm here to explain how Jigglypuff's design philosophy in Ultimate, as well as Hungrybox's unique way of piloting her, is conducive to some of the most hype viewership moments in the franchise. If Hungrybox is ever down in a set on stream, you're quite likely to hear him yell something along the lines of, "We've gotta go gambling, boys," or "Time to go to the casino," or "I swear to God, Pac-Man is a freaking blemish on this game. Who designed this god-awful campy piece of cheese?" The former of these phrases rather coincidentally epitomizes the spectator appeal behind Jigglypuff's design philosophy more so than HBox likely intends. See, Jigglypuff's spontaneous design philosophy rewards your brain in a similar manner to that of a roulette table or a slot machine, much of which comes from the fact that many of her moves in her kit either don't always connect the way they're supposed to, or occasionally don't kill when you think that they would. In Ultimate, Drill Rest is technically a true combo. You hit your opponent with a down air, and then when your little pink feet hit the floor, you press down B for the kill. Sounds simple, right? Well, not so fast. Multi-hit moves in this game are weirdly inconsistent, and the game's shoddy online play, which Hungrybox frequently uses for his streams, makes it so that the strict timing for connecting the combo can cause it to fail when it otherwise wouldn't. Because Drill Rest is an inconsistent combo, your brain lights up like a Christmas tree when Hungrybox actually pulls it off. Because you're used to seeing the move fail so bloody always, it's rewarding to see the combo actually net a stock like it's supposed to.
Drill Rest for the fans. Should I go for it? I'm gonna go for it.
Sing is a similarly inconsistent disaster of a move. I mean, look at this blinking monstrosity. What on earth were they thinking when they programmed this? Similar to Drill Rest though, the move has quite a rewarding payoff if it actually lands, usually leading to a rest or a rest setup. In the wise words of Hungrybox himself,
"It works when it doesn't, and when it does work, it shouldn't. Always happens."
Even up air into rest is kind of weird to pull off online due to the tight timing window, which makes it super hype when HBox actually makes it work. If all of this wasn't enough though, Ultimate's version of rest is far weaker than other iterations of the game, meaning that anytime you see a somewhat heavier character getting hit by the move, you aren't entirely sure if it'll lead to a kill. And we all know what happens to Puff if rest doesn't end up taking a stock. Poor guy. While these inconsistencies are a net negative to the character's design from a competitive standpoint, the fact that you're never sure if HBox's moves will connect, or even kill, makes for a casino-like effect every time he goes for them, full of emotional lows if he misses, and emotional highs when they land. You even get rewarded with a nice satisfying sound whenever the move lands, akin to a shiny windscreen on a slot machine. Puff's methods of taking stocks are certainly spontaneous, but to make matters even more hype is the fact that she can lose stocks in a similarly spontaneous manner. Hungrybox can seemingly lose stocks at any time in the game, with Puff's featherweight disposition resulting in HBox yelling, "That killed!" at least once per week on stream. Combined with HBox's notoriously inconsistent DI, this makes Puff getting hit off stage at any percent a genuinely tense moment, because you aren't sure if a slightly strong gust of wind may accidentally send and are missiling into the blast zone. But while Hungrybox certainly loses stocks easily, so too can he take them with his very specific style of play. The second reason that HBox's streams are so popular is because the man kinda plays Puff as though his opponent just violently murdered his entire family. Like, he knows he'll never get any more of his mama's chunky chicken soup ever again, and he's just, man, he just wants to dismember Pac-Man, even though Pac-Man doesn't have any limbs to dismember. Oh my goodness, he really hates Pac-Man. Hungrybox doesn't just appear intense on screen, though. He approaches neutral in an incredibly aggressive manner and is more than glad to make hard reads and callouts, be it calling out jumps and rolls to deep dives off stage in order to read an opponent's recovery option. Jigs' design in Ultimate makes her indeed benefit from such aggression, since she can sometimes get camped out by projectiles and the ledge isn't nearly as safe for her as it was in Melee. But her biggest change in playstyle from Melee comes down to her severe lack of range and disjoints. In Melee, Puff had a spammable sweeping back air that allowed for her to get back to stage more easily and operated as one of the safest poking tools in the game. In Ultimate though, Jigs gets one single back air before turning around to face the opponent, making it so that she's basically facing forward the entirety of the set. Fun fact, but this technically makes Jigglypuff the 6th and final Shoto in Ultimate. Because many of her aforementioned kill setups are so inconsistent, one of the ways for Jigs to be aggressive in Ultimate is her off-stage game, which is frankly one of her most hype aspects of all. Edgeguarding in Ultimate certainly isn't as consistent a threat as it is in other Smash titles, with players like Elegant showing that even Luigi's apparently bottom-tier recovery isn't quite as exploitable as you might assume. However, Jigglypuff's exceptional airspeed, small but long-lasting hitboxes, and limited kill potential on stage makes going off-stage with her all but necessary. And here's what's interesting: while aggression is found in most high-level Puff play, you don't see top-level Puff players being nearly as aggro as Hungrybox. Base Mage, the #1 Puff in the world and contender for top 50 in Ultimate, doesn't go for half as many drill rests as HBox, and doesn't commit to as many Sing setups either, preferring to stick to Puff's more reliable kill options. Base Mage definitely goes off stage a ton in certain matchups, like this one game where he takes out all 9 of the stocks off stage. However, Base Mage does lean a little closer to choosing kill options at the ledge if the opponent's character has a strong recovery, which through my observations means that he's more likely to go off stage if he thinks that he has a solid chance of getting a kill. Hungrybox, on the other hand, kinda yoinks himself off stage at every opportunity, regardless of matchup, for better or for worse. Along with an overall safer approach to neutral, Base Mage makes it clear that while Jigs' design certainly motivates aggressive play, HBox's maximum level of aggression is a purely idiosyncratic choice. While her design characteristics made it all but certain that Jigglypuff would become the most hyped character to watch in all of Smash Ultimate, Hungrybox's distinct playstyle and over-the-top personality make it no surprise that he's grown in popularity in the way that he has. Hungrybox's mission to win tournaments with a character that is clearly one of the weaker additions to the roster serves as a genuine inspiration for those of us who feel like the world is at times actively working against us. 2020 was a really tough year for all of us, but HBox showed us that even if the deck feels stacked against you, what's most important is that you continue pursuing the things that you love regardless. For all of us who watch you on the regular HBox, thank you for never giving up. We're rooting for you, man.